So I've just finished recording a video talking about why the Cosmic Fury suits don't really work, why some people think they're bad, some people think they're good, etc, etc. Why was I going to rather? Anyway, I kind of was having to think that this needs its own video kind of talking about it, and I feel like it's that Power Rangers needs a theme, and without a theme, it's just kind of, it goes everywhere. And this all stemmed from seeing the new thing, Power Rangers Infinity, the comic book that is coming out, which I really don't like the look of some of the suits or some of the Rangers, that being the giant bear and the old lady, the granny. I really just also don't like the suits of what the characters are in general. I think that they are just all over the place. But when you look at the suit designs for Power Rangers Infinity, you kind of think that you don't know what the theme is. What is the theme? Like, from what I remember of the press release, all it said was like you have a fangirl who is a massive fan of the Power Rangers, and then suddenly Poisandra just comes out of nowhere, you know, and just does some meddling across the multiverse or whatnot, and then you have all these other Rangers coming together, etc, etc. If you don't have a theme, the whole thing just kind of falls apart and you don't know how to design your own costumes. Now, when you look at other themes from what have been created on their own, like you have Cosmic Fury, there is no theme to it. They're just in space trying to get home and defeating Lord Zed and getting the Morphing Masters back. That's not really a theme. But I think when it comes to characters and stuff, all of a sudden you've got a bear and a granny. To me personally, I just don't think this is gonna work. And luckily, this is just a one-issue thing. I'm so glad, but you know that people are gonna say, I want more, give me more, I need more. And it's just gonna spiral into it. Now, don't get me wrong, the comic could be a banger. It could be one of the best comics that's come out after a long time. But to me personally, I just don't think this is a thing. I think, for me, I will look at the digital copy and then I'll decide if I want to buy the hard copy, maybe one or two, I don't know. But in theory, yeah. But anyway, I'm getting completely off topic. When you look at, say, Cosmic Fury, and there is no theme there, then Power Rangers doesn't work if it doesn't have one. Look at every single season of Power Rangers, you know, has a theme and they kind of work with it. It has the suits that work perfectly. They go off and do random things. And, you know, it generally has a purpose to it. Power Rangers Infinity doesn't scream Power Rangers to me whatsoever. It just screams, hey, we just wanted to goof about and we got one, so we're just gonna make these things that maybe some people love, maybe some people don't. I know people do like this, I'm just not one of them. Anyway, let's talk about a theme in Power Rangers. Now, I know people are gonna go, oh God, he's comparing it to Super Sentai, but that's all we have to go off. It's not like it's based off like Marvel or DC. As I mentioned in my previous video, or the video before this, whatever, I mentioned that Boon Boonja, can never get it right, but at least they have a theme. They have race cars. The whole theme, from what I can see of the suits, is based off F1. It's the whole thing when we saw the promotional picture was based off Fast and the Furious. But you have its car themed. You have cars involved, so that's why you have massive tires on the face. It's still not 100%, but I'm kind of growing to liking them. You have the outfit that looks like it's an F1 pit stop, pit crew, whatever, or it could just be racing in general. But that goes with all the cars that you see. But the thing is, when you look at the show itself, even if you didn't know it was all about cars, and you saw a glimpse of that racing aesthetic, you're instantly gonna go, oh, that's a car, isn't it? That's a fucking car. That's really cool. Or, oh my God, it's shit. Whichever way you want to talk about it. But at least when you look at it, you know what you're getting. It's all about cars. Same thing is like with Magi Ranger. You can tell it's all about wizards. You can tell it's all about magic. Same thing is like with Don Brothers, based off the story of the Peach Boy, if you know your Japanese kind of legends. But when you look at, say, King Oja and you see knights, then you know that it's all about royalty, about kingdoms, and like, etc, etc. You know this because that's what the suits tell you, even if you don't look at the kind of the blurb, the stuff, the plot of the actual series itself. Go-Go 5, majority of it is emergency-based like rescue systems. that's literally what you see. That's what I get when I see it and go, oh, it's emergency due to the weapons. Even if you saw a trailer, you'd be like, oh, okay. But majority when I look at it, because of red and white, I would go, oh, this is emergency, this is rescue. That's how I interpret it and that's how I see it. I don't know about you. Let me know down below in the comments what you think. Now, don't get me wrong. Some of the Rangers that have been kind of like created actually work really well. That's based in Power Rangers. With the Titanium Ranger, we didn't see him stand out any differently than say anyone else. He matched with the others and it worked perfectly, to the point where if people didn't realize this was an American creation, you'd kind of think, oh, maybe that was in Go-Go 5. The Solar Rangers, again, their theme, they're in space. Their suits look absolutely fire. They are really, really nicely designed. And that makes me go, oh, that's a space design, because all of the costumes are space themed. It looks really, really nice. Omega Rangers, bar the Morpher, to me, they look really cool as well. And they kind of really fit in. Again, they're going off, they're completely different towards Mighty Morphing, but their suits look really, really cool. From what I've seen of the Ranger Academy, I'm not a big fan of it. I don't like them, to be fair, but when you look at them, you kind of get, okay, they're kind of based off Megaforce. That's how it is. And then you can see the lightning bolt, which I know that they want to put the lightning bolt on everything. I don't think they should, because it doesn't kind of work well. Maybe integrate it into the costume a little bit more. That would kind of work. But apart from that, not a huge fan. And the Infinity Rangers, absolutely think shit. Like, I can't stand them. I just fucking don't like the designs of them. But when you look at, like, say, Ranger Slayer as well, Ranger Slayer is a fantastic design and looks spot on. It basically looks like evil Pink Ranger from another universe. So when they make their own things, some of them are absolute fire, some of them aren't. But when you look at Titanium Ranger, he has a theme. When you look at the Solar Rangers, they have a theme behind them. And that works well when it comes to Power Rangers in general, that when you know a theme, that works perfectly, rather than just throwing stuff to seeing what like sticks to the wall and sticks, then at least you kind of know what you're doing with the series. The Infinity Rangers could be a gimmick. They could be literally in one shot, that's it. We never see or hear of them ever again, or they come back with brand new designs much later on. We don't know just yet. I hope it's a one and done thing. Main thing when I see the Infinity Rangers, I just generally don't see a theme. I don't see it being a popular thing. And I just think it's someone that thought, oh, well, we better put this in here. It'll be a laugh. We find it funny. But when you're trying to advance the brand, to not think it's silly, this I don't think is a way to go. Now, I will say this, I'm not having a go at the artists, their skills. I think their skills are amazing. I just feel like what they've produced and what was being signed off doesn't really work with the brand, but that's just my opinion on that one. This is just a parody. If this is just a comedy thing that they've put in, fair dues. It's a one shot, we may not see them again. It's just something to kind of bring out. But what I don't understand is, why are you putting an old woman in there and a giant bear? Doesn't really make sense to me. It's not something that I generally thought, shit, that's what I want to see. I have mentioned Arthur from the previous video or so when I'm talking about it, and to me, I'm not a big fan. Like, Arthur was in Dino Charge very briefly, and then he was gone. Like, he wasn't in it for such a long time, but at least they were kind of using the footage that was there in Sentai. This has nothing to do with Sentai. I think one of my main problems is that she's not fully morphed. It's just, I'm wearing a helmet, here is my granny clothes, my nana clothes, that's it. So it doesn't really make sense. Maybe we'll see this in the comic and it'll be explained, but for something for me to see like right now, I generally don't see this as a good thing. I just see this as oh, you just want to giggle? Like, aren't we trying to make the brand better right now, to make it a little bit more forward, to make it more appealing? I will be talking about that much later in another video. Now, I'm all for original designs, don't get me wrong, but not to the extent where the show becomes, or the comic becomes silly just for a laugh with some of your mates. I generally think that if you're now starting to take this brand a little bit more seriously, we should get a little bit more serious when it comes to the comics. You can still have your humor in it, don't get me wrong, but when you're looking at designs, I feel like this should be a thing to get people to buy it rather than put people off. I'm happy that we're outside of Mighty Morphing. We're moving past that right now. 100% really happy about that. But I feel like if you want people more invested, they will come in and go, okay, I need to buy this. This is a really cool one shot, and it could lead to more like sales down the road. People have wanted the Solar Rangers to come back. They're in the one of the, I think, issue 120 odd or whatever, but one of the later series of Darkest Hour. Perfectly fine. They're back. Everybody likes this. But yeah, I think I am going to leave it there. I feel like if you don't have a theme at all, it's just kind of, we can go anywhere. We can just make something look silly when it shouldn't really be silly, to the point where it's like, okay, we don't know what we're doing right now. Personally, I think that Power Rangers needs a theme. Otherwise, it just fails and it's like, Like, you don't have to copy Sentai. You could easily turn around and go, okay, well, why don't we do another one about space? And then design the costumes around space. That would make more of an interesting thing rather than just, oh, we don't know what we're doing. Same thing as what they did with the Cosmic Fury suits. They didn't really know what they were doing. They didn't really have a theme. It was a continuation. It was a good continuation and a decent season, but the suits needed a little bit more work and they needed a theme. I'm hoping that the reboot is a decent one. It has a decent costume. It has everything that we want, but time will tell if that ever does come out, if it does or doesn't. Who knows? Anyway, I am going to leave it there. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think the series needs a theme, or are you just okay with whatever type of suits that they make? Would you just be happy with that? Let me know down below in the comments. If you want to check out the store to buy your own t-shirts and you want to help out the channel, then that would be greatly appreciated. If not, check out the channel memberships as well as the Patreon. Completely forgot there. Anyway, I'm gonna leave it there. Thank you very much for listening and watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. I want to say a big thank you to all my Patreon supporters, and I wanted to shout out Kimono Cat, Kira Stanada. Your help goes a long way to help support the channel, and if you want to help support the channel, the links to my Patreon and channel memberships are listed below in the description.
あらあら、チャンネルをサポートしてくれてありがとうございます。チャンネル登録、高評価お願いします。以下のリンクから商品を入手することができます。